The cabin lights glowed softly as passengers found their seats, and the air filled with the gentle rustle of bags and whispers of travel excitement. A poor single mom named Alina stepped into the plane holding her little boy, Danny, tightly as if he were her only anchor in a storm. Her clothes were simple. Her shoes were worn and her eyes carried the quiet weight of someone who had fought too many battles, yet still chose hope. She guided Danny to their seats in the very last row, thankful that she had managed to buy even these cheap tickets for a journey that absolutely mattered to her future. Danny looked around with innocent wonder while Alina tried to calm her racing thoughts about the job interview waiting for her at their destination. She whispered to herself that maybe this trip might open a new door for them. At the front of the plane, a little girl named Ella ran to her father and tugged on his sleeve, her voice full of energy. Ella was the daughter of a powerful CEO named Adrian, a man known for his brilliant mind, yet a heart that had grown guarded and cold after losing his wife. Ella said, "Papa, someone is sitting alone in the back with a small boy." Adrian barely looked up, busy with a tablet full of meetings, projections, and plans. Ella sighed, then glanced back at the last row, sensing something soft and lonely in the way. The single mom held her son. When the plane lifted into the sky, Danny grabbed his mother's hand, trembling at the sudden rise. Ella watched from a distance, her small heart tugged by the sight. She unwrapped a small cookie from her bag, and after thinking for a long moment, she climbed down and walked toward the back. Alina looked up surprised as the little rich girl stood before them, holding a cookie with both hands. Ella asked, her voice quiet but full of warmth, "If I share my cookie, will you stay with me during the flight?" Alina blinked, unsure how to reply. She gave a gentle smile, wondering why a stranger child would choose her and her boy in a plane full of people. Danny smiled shyly as Ella broke her cookie into 2 uneven pieces and shared them with care. In that moment, something unseen shifted in the air, as if kindness itself had taken a seat beside them. Ella sat next to Danny, swinging her feet freely with a bright joy that reminded Alina of sunlight on a cold day. She began telling stories about imaginary kingdoms, sky castles, and brave little heroes, making Danny laugh softly. Alina watched them and felt a warmth she had not felt in years, because life had been a long tunnel with too little light and too many bills and broken moments. Adrian finally noticed his daughter was gone and walked down the aisle expecting trouble. Instead, he found Ella sitting with strangers, happily sharing cookies, crayons, and half-folded paper stars. He paused, confused by the sight, because his daughter rarely opened up to anyone since losing her mother. Adrian looked at Alina and Danny, taking in their worn clothes and tired yet gentle expressions. Ella said, "Papa, this is Alina and this is Danny. We are all friends now." Adrian hesitated, then nodded politely, but something softened inside him as he watched Ella laugh, a laugh he had not heard in a very long time. A flight attendant approached and whispered to Adrian that turbulence was expected. Ella grew nervous, gripping Alina's hand tightly. Danny gently patted her arm, trying to comfort her the way his mother always comforted him. When the turbulence hit, Ella hid her face against Alina's shoulder, seeking safety without fear. Alina held her like she would hold Danny, whispering soothing words that floated like soft music through the vibrating cabin. Adrian stood nearby, watching with a stunned expression, because he had never seen someone comfort his daughter with such natural tenderness. When the shaking passed, Ella did not let go. She whispered to Alina, "Please do not leave yet. Your hugs feel like home." Alina's heart trembled hearing those words, because no one had called her warmth home in a very long time. Adrian eventually returned to his seat, but he kept glancing back with a strange ache that he could not name. As the plane continued its journey, Ella grew more attached to Alina and Danny. She asked them questions about their life, their favorite skies, and their dreams. Danny shyly said that he wished to have a place where he could sleep without worrying that rain might come through the ceiling. Alina looked away, embarrassed by the truth. Ella reached for her hand and held it with a sincerity that felt far too big for such small fingers. Adrian returned again, this time with a polite request. He asked Alina if she and Danny would like to join them in the front row, because Ella refused to sit without them. Alina hesitated, feeling out of place in the wider, softer seats, but did not want to disappoint the little girl. When they sat together, Ella rested between Danny and Alina, smiling as if the world had suddenly aligned. Adrian watched silently, noticing how calm and happy his daughter looked. He asked Alina if she needed anything, perhaps water or food. She shook her head with gentle gratitude. As they talked, Adrian slowly began to understand her story through her quiet voice and the way she chose each word with care. He learned that she had lost her husband years ago, that she worked multiple small jobs, and that this flight was for a single job interview that might change everything. Adrian listened in a way he rarely listened to anyone. Something in him felt pulled toward her strength, a strength wrapped not in power, but in tenderness and sacrifice. Ella leaned against Alina, her eyes slowly closing. She whispered, "If I share all my cookies, will you stay with me forever?" Alina did not know how to answer. She brushed a strand of hair from Ella's face, holding back a wave of emotion. Adrian heard the words and felt his heart twist. The plane prepared to land, and Ella clung to Alina, not wanting the journey to end. Danny too looked sad, knowing his new friend would soon return to a world far grander than their own. As the wheels touched the ground, Adrian cleared his throat and asked Alina if she had a ride or place to stay. Alina admitted that she had booked a very cheap room far from the city, because she could not afford anything better. Adrian made a thoughtful pause, then gently offered to arrange a safe place for her and Danny, even if only for one night until her interview. Alina felt torn between pride and need. Ella tugged her sleeve and said softly, "Please stay." Her eyes shone with a longing deeper than simple friendship, a longing shaped by the emptiness her mother once filled. Adrian looked at Alina with a sincerity he seldom allowed anyone to see. Alina took a slow breath, feeling the weight of every choice she had ever made for her son. She looked at Danny, who nodded with a hopeful trust, and in that quiet moment she realized that perhaps this unexpected meeting in the sky was not an accident but a beginning written by fate itself.